Busan's iconic Jagalchi market is set to undergo a major change with the opening of the new Jagalchi Ajme market next year. The city will hold a meeting today at the modernized Jagalchi market to discuss plans to transform the area into a global seafood destination. Busan City Mayor Park Hyung-jun, city council members, and merchant leaders will attend. The city facility aims to replace traditional street stalls with safer, more hygienic spaces. While disputes arose over fees and facility upgrades, the City Facility Corporation and Merchant Association have reached a compromise through a task force. Merchants are expected to move in by the first half of 2026. Plans also include improved hygiene, marketing, fresh delivery, and pedestrian-friendly streets. In international news, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has called an unexpected meeting of U.S. generals, sparking speculation about leadership changes or discipline measures. The ranks of U.S. Forces Korea and U.S. Army Pacific commanders were temporarily listed lower, though officials say it may have been an error. Hegseth, who has dismissed many generals from the Biden administration, is emphasizing warrior spirit and reducing bureaucracy. About 800 generals worldwide are affected. The Quantico meeting tomorrow will be attended by President Donald Trump, raising the possibility of political overtones and tight security. And now for today's weather. Current temperatures are 24 degrees Celsius under partly cloudy conditions. For now, daytime and nighttime temperatures are expected to differ by around 10 degrees. That wraps up this hour's news. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to BEFM, 부산 영어 방송.
Your best choice. BEFM, 부산 영어 방송.
Coming up next is Busan Worldwide with Stephanie Yoon. BEFM, 부산 영어 방송.
Good morning and welcome to Busan Worldwide. A nation's image influences many areas including politics, the economy, and diplomacy. And public diplomacy carried out not by governments but by businesses, NGOs, academia, artists, and influencers plays a unique role. By engaging directly with people and institutions abroad, it helps sustain goodwill between nations even in times of political or diplomatic tension. And this is often described as a form of soft power. K-pop and K-dramas at the heart of the Korean wave have become powerful example of this. They have introduced the charm of Korean culture to the world and built a positive image of Korea. And according to the Ministry of Education's latest review of its plan to enhance the competitiveness of international education, the number of foreign students in Korea is expected to reach 253,400 in 2025, and that's a 21.3% increase from last year. And many of these students actively create online content sharing their experiences of Korean culture with audiences in their own countries. In doing so, they become what some call cultural ambassadors, promoting Korea voluntarily. 네, 한국 문화를 경험한 외국인들이 자발적으로 한국 문화를 알리는 문화 전도사 역할을 하고 있다는 점인데요. Well, this spread of soft power through K-culture is not just about consuming content. It is about creating new stories, strengthening Korea's image, and shaping the future of global cultural diplomacy. Well, this is Busan Worldwide, and I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon.
This is Busan Worldwide, your window into Busan, your bridge to the world.
That's right. You're listening live this Monday morning, September 29th on BEFM Busan 영어 방송, 90.5 FM in Busan and 103.3 FM in Gijang, Jeongwan, and Doksan areas. We already have a lot of messages coming in. Benny-님 and TV Jerry-님 saying Happy Monday. And 재봉리-님 messaging in. 안녕하세요. 주말도 일하시고요. 그쵸? I am very glad that you joined us and all of our listeners joining us on Saturday live show special here at BFM. Now, I hope you're having a wonderful Monday morning so far. And as we mentioned, the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism has selected international K-culture promoters. These are foreign nationals who introduce Korea in their own languages, helping to share the country's travel destinations, food, and cultural content. Since 2020, they have released nearly 20,000 videos sharing the authentic appeal of Korea with the world. Well, here in Busan, the number of foreign residents has grown by almost 40% over the past decade. 네, 특히 부산에 머무는 외국인이 지난 10년 동안 40% 가까이 늘었는데요. According to the Southeast Regional Statistics Office, as of last year, there were more than 63,000 foreign residents here in Busan, and that's up by 17,200 since 2015. Yet, 4 out of 10 say their biggest challenge is language. So in today's segment of the interview, we'll be joined by Alberto. He serves as a Korean culture promoter for the ministry while also teaching Korean to foreign residents here in Busan to help them adapt to life in the city. And together, we'll explore what it means to take on this role, what kind of image of Korea and Busan these cultural ambassadors are sharing with the world. Well, before we jump into the interview, let's go over today's question for our listeners. What are the little things that make you think, this is so Korea? Or that's such a Korean thing to do, right? What are those little things? 네, 오늘의 문자 주제입니다. 이래야 한국이지 라고 할 수 있는 건 뭐가 있을까요? So, for example, maybe saying, 아이고, 아이고, all the time, right? Or maybe even the reactions, back in America, we didn't do the ooh, ah, but here in Korea, I think we do a lot of reactions. Let me think. For me, I would say the pace of walking. Back in Arizona, because it's a 시골, we walk very, very slow. I would say it would be left, right, left, right. That's how slow I used to walk. But here in Korea, I walk now after being here for 5-6 years. I walk very fast. I think I walk very fast. And I noticed it when I met my brother back in Arizona a few years back. And we were walking together at a mall. And I looked back and he was like, Nuna, why are you walking so fast? And I looked back and he was miles away. And I just remember thinking, wow, I do walk really fast now. And I like it. I think it's good for me. And it's efficient, which is what Korea is all about, efficiency, right? We have TV Jerry-님 already messaging in saying 지하철 내리려고 사람들 준비하는 거 보면 여기 한국이지 싶죠? Yes, public transportation and the manners that we have, we're very ready to get out of there, right? Even at airplanes, in the airplane, when you hear the ding, we're ready to get out. Yes, we're always efficient. We're prepared, right? So do let us know maybe your thoughts, your stories, and you can send your messages at pound 9050 for 101 or for free through Kakao Talk or the YouTube live chat. Well, let's jump into our main segment, which is the interview. And now it's time for the interview. Public diplomacy today matters more than ever. It reaches where official channels cannot, building trust, breaking stereotypes, and sharing culture authentically. When paired with K-pop, K-dramas, food, and language, it not only boosts Korea's image, but also tourism and exports. Here in Busan, with its mix of sea and city, it is loved really for being welcoming and unique. And it's a place where visitors feel both local warmth and culture. So today we are joined by Alberto Busutil, official Korean culture promoter with the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism. He introduces Korea to the world, sharing Busan's hidden spots and local life from a foreigner's view. Today we'll hear about his work, his view of Korean culture, and Busan's special charm. 민간 외교의 중요함이 더 커지고 있는데요. 오늘도 인터뷰에선 따뜻하고 직설적인 부산 사람들의 정을 외국인의 시선으로 전하는 Berto Busutil, 문화체육관광부 공식 홍보활동가와 함께 한국 문화와 부산의 매력에 대해 이야기 나눠보겠습니다. Hello and welcome, Berto.
Hello.
Hello. Hola, buenos dias.
Hola, buenos dias. Oh,
That's
you
a
speak
very
Spanish.
little
That's
Spanish,
cool.
I know.
That's cool.
So, Berto, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes, of course. My name is Alberto. I'm from Spain, and I've been a promoter for the culture and Hallyu for the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and also tourism. And I create content about the news, and I try to share all the Korean culture, the real Korean culture, through the news.
Right.
And I'm also teaching Korean for foreigners who live in Busan or who live abroad.
Right. Well, it's a pleasure having you here in the studio
thank
today.
you for having me.
Very excited for today's interview. Well, last year you were officially appointed, as you mentioned, a Korean culture promoter by the ministry. So how has it been for you?
Well, it's been a very interesting thing. I mean, it's a program that they showed, and it was very, very interesting. And the Korean Ministry of Culture of Sports and Tourism just select some K-influencers, and these K-influencers are to promote the Korean culture normally. So after this launch in 2020, they have been uploading more than 20,000 videos.
Right.
So it's really a lot, I think, right? So, and introducing a lot of things about Korea. They just introduce places. They introduce the Hallyu, K-dramas, K-food, K-beauty that is also trending nowadays.
Right.
And after that, so I spent also a year uploading more than 100 videos about this kind of stuff too. And it's been really, very interesting. I do it in my native languages, but sometimes I just put some subtitles too. So, yeah.
So it's for everyone.
Yeah, that's it. So then the support that normally they provide is to appear in places, just to know touristic places too.
Oh, wow.
And also produce some kind of events related with the Hallyu and more. They have a lot of things.
Right.
So I put my effort to promote it and share the Korean news from my perspective. And normally what I do is I take some issue that it shows on the news, and then with that I explain why this happened, and I explain the Korean culture through the news. Okay. And I think it's a thing that it's a little bit different than other content creators they do. Yeah. So as a promoter of a Korean culture, I feel a very big responsibility toward my followers, because I have to show the reality of Korea, but also I have to be objective.
Right.
And that sometimes is really hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So the thing is like the responsibility comes for the trust of the followers, because I'm giving an image of Korea. So they have to catch this image of Korea, and if I do something wrong, they can misunderstand things.
Right.
And that's a hard thing. So I think. And then in my case, my vision of Korea is through the news. So, for example, recently there was the news about the tattooing, the legally tattooing, and some people just don't understand why. Like, why in Korea you cannot make a tattoo? So why is that? No, because for example, in Spain, it's completely normal. You can go to any place and then you can do it. And then I just try to show why this happened and what's the cultural context. And after that, just show why is this so important to Korea nowadays.
Interesting. So it's not just culture or K-content, but really you have to delve into like the history of it or the background and even law related to it. I love that. And I do, like you mentioned, it sounds like a huge responsibility because it's important for you to present Korea fairly and clearly. So because a lot of people do rely on your perspective and your knowledge. So I do appreciate that. And then can you share maybe examples where your content helped resolve cultural biases or led to a positive change in behavior among your followers or your viewers?
Yeah, so many people just think of Korea when you talk to a foreigner and you talk like, oh, that's Korea. They normally think about the K-dramas, K-pop,
Right.
or also just like traditional customs like hanbok or kimchi normally.
Right.
But some also they imagine because of the K-dramas, they imagine that Korea as a glamorous or a successful, highly modern.
Yeah.
Or also focus only on Seoul. Sometimes people they don't know that much about Busan, but they know a lot about Seoul. So others also may assume that some social habits that happen in Korea, but I think that these images that the foreigners know, it's just a part of the total picture.
Of course.
It's just one part. And what I want to do is to show the other part of Korea. That part that the people don't know. So the personal stories, the experiences, the local traditions, also the family life. Because I always said that in Busan, I feel like a family. So everyone helps you and everyone is very kind and has these community connections too. So for example, in my case, I've been in different I've been in small neighborhoods and they have their own customs and festivals and ways to support each other too.
Right.
And the daily life includes not only what we see in the K-dramas, but also the gestures of respect, like, for example, handing objects or receiving with the two hands.
Right.
That sometimes in my country, we don't have that. We just give it in one hand and that's all, right? But here, they have this kind of small gestures that made the community just as one. And I think these experiences are really unique and they show how warm and resilient the Koreans have.
Right.
I think so. And also, I want to highlight those parts of Korea that they are less known for the foreigners. For example, there are more regions beyond Seoul and Busan.
Of course.
And I think it's interesting. And all the places, they have hidden temples, they have local markets, traditional events, festivals, all these kinds of things. And also I want to show the everyday life. And I think this one is it's really important because every neighborhood, he has her customs and her traditions.
Of
And it's
course,
completely different
yeah.
than one place from another one. And also, by sharing these stories, I think my content can give viewers a more complete, authentic, and also human picture of Korea. Just
Right.
not one part, but just the total part. Yeah, and I think that's it. So with my content at the end, I just want to show the lesser known regions, the everyday life, the warm, and also from sharing meals with the neighborhood, helping each other during the festivals, or just these simple gestures of respect and daily interactions. I think these experiences are really, really like the authentic human side of Korea.
Absolutely.
So in my opinion, I think viewers can also appreciate the richness of the diversity of Korean life beyond just the usual stereotypes that can be.
Right, and I think we do all love that stereotype of Korea. It's not a bad thing, but I think outside of that, there's more beauty of, like you mentioned, lesser known areas or even lesser known maybe spots and even gestures, as you mentioned, very important. And I think once you are already into K content or Korean culture and whatnot, you already know those things. So I think you're giving even more information for these viewers, and I do love that. Now, what kind of content, something maybe ordinary for Koreans but special through a foreigner's eyes, has received the best response?
So in my case, I have several followers that they thank me for helping them to understand Korea in another side, and not only the stereotypes, so more deeply, if I can say. So for example, there was one follower who sent me a DM and saying, oh, I didn't realize that how the local customs are different from Seoul, so are completely different. And they just thanked me for that. So I made a video of a market, and then in that market, she told me that, the Jagalchi market, it was not the same as the other markets that I thought. So it just opened my eyes, that video. So thank you very much for showing me this other side of Korea. And also another person just told me the Busan hidden temples. And because, for example, it was a temple of Bomosa that not a lot of people just know, and some persons, they just told me that, I didn't know that these places existed. So thank you very much for showing it to me. And next time I came to Busan, then I will just go to there. So I just try to promote the hidden places, these hidden gems, and also for the tourism, I think it's also better.
Absolutely.
I think so. So then after that, before watching my channel, a lot of people just also just assume some social habits, but that they are the same for everyone. So every Korean has the same social habits. But I said, no, it's not like that.
Right.
Every
We're
person is
humans.
different. Yeah, we're humans. We are doing different things. Every person is a story, has his story, has his customs, has everything. Is a person, right? So after seeing my content, they just appreciate realizing how diverse is Korea, and also that people has their own unique experience. So each person has their experience. And I think this is one of the important things that I have. And also, in fact, some followers ask me for advice when they meet some Koreans and for the first time, or colleagues. And it was so funny because it happened to me also when I came here to Korea. It happened to me also, a lot of these things. For example, one of my followers just asked me, I have to go to a friend's home and I don't know how to behave there because the culture is completely different.
Right.
So I told to that person, just don't worry, just go there and do, like, for example, if you receive some present or something, just take it with the two hands.
Right.
Just give it with two hands. Just take your shoes off before you come inside
Right.
home. And you just speak like politely with everyone, just keep the distance and everything will be okay.
Yeah.
If you just like, if you know this etiquette, this unique etiquette, then everything will be okay.
Right.
Yeah, and also after that, after those tips, the persons felt more comfortable and more confident to meet the other person. And I think that's how I helped a little bit.
Oh, I love that. And I think just knowing just a little bit is really, it goes a long way. And just asking questions, right? Hey, I don't know some of the cultural things. Like, can you tell me? And they're your friends, so they'll probably tell you.
Yeah.
We actually have some messages coming in. We have Chae-sung-nim from Kakao Talk saying, to you, Berto, thank you for your effort in introducing Korean culture to the world. And I second that.
Thank you.
Now, what unique cultural or social feature do you think exists only in Korea? Maybe something you wouldn't find in other countries?
In my case, I would say the most value or the most important values that Koreans have has the resilience and also the efficiency.
Okay.
I think the both are the most important for me.
Right.
So, for example, Korea has been through a very significant hardship through the history. So, first of all, we have to remember from 1910 to 1945, it was the Japanese occupation.
Right.
And this one also, it was a period that deeply affected so the country and also the people, all the citizens. And after that, after the liberation in 1945, it became the Korean War. That was from 50 to 53. So that caused also a very immense devastation. So one of the things that I really appreciate about the Koreans is that in the middle of these changes, it doesn't matter what happened, that Koreans have always pushed forward like a unity.
Right.
So they just put together and then, okay, we have to go forward, we have to be better, and we have to do everything. It's our country, it's our people, so we have to be a unit. And this is one of the things that I really liked about Korean. So yeah, this is one of the things. And this one is how the country became like now, today.
Absolutely.
So without this resilience, you cannot understand the Korean behavior or the Korean personality.
And developing so quickly as a country as
that's
well.
true. It's one of the countries that I think it was so fast increasing and improved everything so fast.
Right.
So that sometimes it's it's a very impressive thing when as a foreigner.
Yeah.
When you see about the Korean history, it's really, really impressive.
And you mentioned efficiency.
Yeah, and then the other one is the efficiency, and this one it's interesting because Koreans always just hold themselves to a very high standards. That's one of the things that is important. So at the same time, this efficiency, it can also change to a little bit of a stress.
Right.
So for example, when I go to a coffee shop, I normally expect it to have the coffee very fast. So I know that the efficiency just make this service very fast and precise. And but also on the other side, I learned to be mindful also for the staff who is working there, because they have to be working under the pressure, because they have these high standards, and every Korean, also me now, when I came to Korea, not that much, but now I also, when I wait more than 10 minutes, like the coffee is like why it's like that?
2 minutes.
Yeah, it's been 2 minutes, yeah, something like that. So I can understand how it can be. It can be a little bit stressful to work under the pressure for the staff. So, but the efficiency is really, really good. I think so. And on the other hand, I come from a culture where hugging, kissing, or just showing some kind of affection to the other person, that even you don't know the person, it's just normal. Like in Spain, the first time you meet someone, you just hug or kiss on the cheeks, and don't think different, just on the cheeks. And but in Korea, when you come here, I noticed the first time I came that Koreans, they just keep the space a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, they keep the personal space with the strangers, and so it's very different from Spain. And nowadays, I can appreciate that that personal space, because also it made me to be more respectful to the other person, to the person that you don't know. And that's one of the things that make getting to someone and helps also to be more comfortable with the other person and the environment that it works.
Right. And I think that's the beauty of having cultural ambassadors living here or in different countries, because you wouldn't really experience that unless you are in a different culture and experience that culture shock maybe, or reverse culture shock later when you go back to Spain as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's the beauty of it. Well, listeners, we are in the middle of the interview with Alberto Busutil, official Korean culture promoter with the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism. Now, we are going to continue the interview with Korean for a little bit, because you're also teaching Korean to foreigners in Busan now. So how did you come to start teaching Korean? 현재는 부산에서 외국인들에게 한국어를 가르쳐주는 일도 하고 계신데요. 어떻게 시작하게 되셨나요?
저 진짜 한국을 제대로 알려면 한국어를 곧 알아야 된다고 생각해요. 네. 그래서 외국인들에게 진짜 한국을 알려주고 싶어서 한국어 수업을 시작해야 된다고 했어요. 네. 그래서 예를 들어 어떤 단어 눈치 같은 단어를 공부하면 한국의 눈치 문화를 알게 될 수도 있어요.
그렇죠.
네. 그래서 저는 이런 경험도 있어요. 전 한국에서는 직장 생활에 생활을 하면서 정을 느낀 적이 있어요. 정은 야근으로 늦게까지 일을 하고 있었는데 동료가 간식을 가져갔는데 우리 같이 먹으면서 힘내세요. 이게 바로 정이라고 했어요. 저 처음에는 정은 그냥 친절하게 이야기하고 싶거나 이런 식으로 생각했는데 친구가 아니에요. 이것은 서로 챙기고 따뜻한 마음을 나누는 의미가 있다는 걸 알게 되었어요. 정 그런 거예요. 정 달라요. 네. 제 생각보다는 달라요. 그냥 친절하게 하고 싶은 게 아니라 그냥 마음으로 알려주고 싶은 게 도와주고 싶다고 생각했어요. 네. 그래서 그 경험을 통해 저는 정이라는 단어 책이 아닌 실제 생활 속에서 배우게 되었어요. 네. 그리고 외국인들에게 한국어를 가르치는 활동은 한국 문화 이해를 넓히는 도움이 된다고 생각해요. 네, 부산에서는 생활은 외국인들은 가장 어려운 것이 소통이에요.
그렇죠.
네, 그래서 저는 다양한 언어를 하고 한국어를 공유할 수 있는 자격증이 있어서 부산에 사는 외국인들의 지역 사회에 더 쉽게 적응하고 부산 문화를 경험하는데 도움이 된다고 생각해요.
그렇군요.
네.
단어 하나에 담긴 문화까지 알려주신다니 정말 의미 있는 수업일 것 같은데요. 네. So he believes that to understand Korea properly, one needs to know Korean language. So he started teaching Korean because he wanted to share the real Korea with foreigners. So he gave an example of learning the words like 눈치, right? And that really helps them, or students or foreigners, foreigners learn the culture of reading the atmosphere. And he also experienced Chong firsthand while working in Korea. So, he thought Chong is just like a kind gesture, but he realized it really reflects caring for one another. And teaching Korean also helps foreigners living in Busan adapt more easily and experience local cultures fully as well. Well, then, what was the most difficult part of learning Korean for you? And could you maybe share some special study tips for your own for the many listeners and learners around the world who are studying Korean? 네, 그럼 한국어를 배우면서 가장 어려웠던 점은 무엇이었는지 또 전 세계 한국어를 공부하는 학습자들에게 특별히 전해주고 싶은 공부 비법이 있는지 알려주시죠.
네, 한국어를 배우면서 그 어려웠던 점은 그 예의예요. 네, 예의 제일 어려워요.
그렇죠.
왜냐하면 그 한국어를 생각하면 반말도 있고 존댓말도 있어요.
네.
그 외국인 사람들에게 힘들 것 같아요. 네, 그래서 그 언제 어떤 상황을 죄송합니다. 그래서 언제 어떤 상황에서 무엇을 사용해야 하는지 어려울 것 같아요. 네, 그것도 중요해요.
그렇죠.
그건 너무 중요해요. 그리고 하지만 그냥 바로 잘할 수 있는 게 아니에요. 그냥 익숙해지려면 그는 시간이 필요해요. 그냥 바로 한국에 도착하고 알 수 있는 게 아니고 그냥 사람마다 보면 다음에 이렇게 할 수 있다, 이렇게 하면 안 된다, 이렇게 생각할 수도 있어요. 네, 그래서 한국어를 공부하는 분들에게 두 가지 알려주고 싶어요.
네.
그냥 첫째는 한국 드라마도 좋지만 부산 월드와이드 같은 라디오 프로그램이나
네.
팟캐스트 들어보라고 하고 싶어요. 네, 예를 들면 한국 역사 드라마는 재밌는데 어려운 단어도 나오고,
그쵸.
그리고 존댓말 자주 사용해요.
네.
그래서 공부하는 부분들에게 힘들 수도 있을 것 같아요. 어려울 수도 있을 것 같아요. 그래서 그거 약간 팟캐스트가 조금 더 생활적으로 변하게 이야기할 수도 있으니까 조금 쉽게 이해할 수도 있다고 생각해요.
네.
네. 그리고 예의 말하기 위해서 저는 한국 사람들이 대화를 많이 들으려고 노력을 했는데 실생활에서 자주 쓰는 표현을 집중적으로 공부해 보면 도움이 돼요. 둘째는 모든 언어가 다 똑같지만 처음부터 한국어로 생각하고 말하는 연습을 해보면 좋겠습니다.
네.
네, 저는 일기. 예를 들어서 이거는 다른 사람도 다른 방법이 될 수도 있겠는데
네.
저는 일기를 한국어로 쓰거나 한국 친구들과 이야기하는 연습을 했어요.
그렇군요. 네. 너무 좋습니다. 부산 월드와이드 매일매일 듣고
맞아요.
자주 말하기 연습하는 건데 또 한국어로 생각하는 방법도
네.
너무 좋은 비법인데요. So the hardest part for him was speaking politely, especially with honorifics. So Korean has both formal and also informal speech. So it's important to know which to use in different situations. So actually, he shared two tips. First is instead of only watching dramas to learn, he recommends listening to radio programs like Busan Worldwide or podcasts. And he also mentioned it's good to practice thinking and speaking Korean from the start. So personally, he practices by writing a diary in Korean and chatting with Korean friends as well. Now I personally have so many different questions, but we are going to have to wrap up soon. So I do want to ask, as an official Korea promoter with the ministry, how do you plan to contribute to promoting Korean culture in the future?
I think for me the best things about Busan are two. The first one is the landscape, because I think they have the sea and the mountain that open a lot of opportunities, and also the people, because I think the people of Busan are very warm, straightforward, and open to meeting others. And also, for example, I went to a neighborhood festival in Samyeon during the spring, and I joined some families and we played traditional games and we ended up dancing also. And that was so interesting and so funny. And also I met a smaller cultural festival near Gamjeong Maul, Gamjeong Village, and the locals just welcomed me and also sharing handmade foods. We just share about the story of the neighborhood and all these things. All these experience that just gave me the real sense of community and the family that I think that in Busan is very important, like the family and the community, and show me how proud the Busan people are and how friendly they are too.
Right.
Yeah, so I always thought that Busan has its own charm beyond Seoul, and what it's the most important thing is to highlighting these unique aspects that they have in Busan. For example, the Busan people just feel a little bit more relaxed than, for example, Seoul or other places.
Right.
And there is a strong connection between the people and their local communities. So promoting this one, it will give a very authentic and memorable experience for all the visitors and all the people who want to join here in Busan.
Definitely. And I absolutely agree. Like Busan have this like special atmosphere. Like we mentioned, like there's nature, culture, and people all come together. And even in different festivals, we can see that. Now, we do have to wrap up in about 30 seconds. I do want to ask you the last question, which is our text topic question. So what are the things you would say truly define Korea? So the things that make you think, this is Korea, or this is such a Korean thing to do?
In my case, I would say for me, the feeling of Korea is, for example, in a rainy day, you just go to a restaurant with your friends. And you eat, for example, pajeon.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, right. It's a pajeon in a rainy day. It's a very good thing. You just take it with a bottle of makgeolli, and that's really, really what that's. For me, it's the real Korea.
Yeah.
This is the real
I'm
Korea.
in Korea.
Yeah, I'm in Korea.
On a rainy day, enjoying pajeon and makgeolli.
And also with your friend, just saying expressions like, oh, today was a hard day in my job, and oh, 어떡해, or things like that, right? Like, for example, 아이고, 어떡해, or
수고했어.
괜찮아, 수고했어, 잘했어. Things like that makes really feel like you are in Korea.
I love that.
And I also like those days. Even if it's not raining, you can do this kind of stuff.
Of
but
course.
in a rainy day, the pageant, it's like a must, I think, right? So, yeah. So also, but there are other things. For example, handing objects with the two hands, as we said. Also, you have, for example, enjoying the spring flowers. That also it's very important in Korea. Or just on winter, when it's snowing, just go to the supermarket with the slippers. That is something that it's only in Korea, I think,
That's
right?
very Korean, yes.
I think
yes.
so. So, well, the first time that I did the same in Spain, my friends were like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you wearing?
Yeah, it's not necessary to do that one, right? You will get like back. And I had my last experience. It was in a sauna.
Oh.
Sorry, in a jjimjilbang. And when I went to the jjimjilbang, it was really interesting because there was a person who was next to me, and we just shared experience. Well, how was that? And then what is
sauna.
that? It's in a sauna.
Like,
This one is
okay.
something that it's interesting. Maybe it can be really shocking for foreigners. But the first time that I experienced that, I said, oh, that's really the Korean thinking. It's like, they don't care, how are you? You're one more with them.
Right.
You're like family, and they're just curious about how you arrive here. So they just do that. And also, sometimes they just offer you to scrub your bag just in case you don't arrive. You can arrive.
Yes.
No, maybe I can have it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's try.
That's Korea. Yes.
And I said, that's really Korea.
I
if you
love that.
never experienced that, you just have to do it once.
I hope you
once in
do,
your life.
listeners.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so.
From rainy day pajeon to local sauna, scrubbing your bag, right? Really captures the charm of Korea.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that's going to do it for today's The Interview with Alberto Busutil, an official Korean culture promoter here in Busan. Well, thank you so much, Berto, and it was a pleasure to have you in the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right. With that, let's take a quick song break. This is 조용필 with 걷고 싶다.
물 흐르듯 살다가 행복 이슬에 닿은 듯이 선명한 밤 내 곁에 있구나 내가 나의 빛이구나 멀리 도와주었다 너의 사랑아 고단한 나의 걸음이 언제나 돌아오던 고요함으로 사랑한다 말해주던 오 나의 사랑 난 너란 울었지만 넌 나를 품은 채로 웃었네 오늘 같은 밤엔 전부 놓고 모두 내려놓고서 너와 걷고 싶다 너와 걷고 싶어 소리내 부르는 봄이 되는 내 이름을 크게 부르며 부드러운 네 손을 품에 넣고서
And that was 걷고 싶다 by 조용필. Welcome back to Busan Worldwide. I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday so far. And it is a shorter week with 개천절 on Friday, so I hope you're excited. Now, listeners, we have a lot of messages coming in. Jinli-nim saying hello, all friends. Hope you're having a wonderful morning. And today's text topic question, what are the little things that make you think this is so Korea or that's such a Korean thing to do? 나 오늘의 문자 주제였죠. 이래야 한국이지 라고 할 수 있는 건 뭐가 있을까요? So we have 재봉리님 saying 친절한 서비스, 빠른 해결책 제공 정말 한국이죠. 네, 맞습니다. So quick. I just remember back in Arizona, if I ever need to go to the bank or anywhere for just customer service, I knew I would have to wait for at least 20-30 minutes, and that was just fine. But here, I give myself about 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm like, oh no, hurry, right? As we mentioned during the guests as well, with the guests, talking about coffee should be out within 10 minutes. Sometimes I expect it to be out within 2 or 3 minutes. I think I'm becoming maybe too efficient. We also have Benny-님 saying, I think it's about eating samgyeopsal. Benny-님, samgyeopsal is good, but samgyeopsal with kimchi cooked next to it and also 마늘. You have to have it with 마늘. Oh, so good. And we also have some messages coming in. What-님 messaging in saying, public safety is one of so Korean thing, right? I guess because you can't really walk around alone at maybe nighttime in big cities. But here in Korea, you can go to the mountains or just anywhere for late night, just walk and no problem at all. I absolutely agree. Even just alone at nighttime, just walking around for me is like a no problem for me as well. So that's like a very, very rare thing around the world. So that's a beauty of Korean too. We also have 서윤님, TV Jerry님, and 고수님 messaging in. Hello, and welcome. We will continue to read your messages throughout the show. So continue and send us your messages. We're going to move on to Busan Update. And it's time for Busan Update. Busan Museum of Art and Democracy Park are jointly hosting a family education program called Memory Map Stories Connected. 부산시립미술관은 민주공원과 함께 가족 참여 교육 프로그램 기억지도-이어지는 이야기를 운영합니다. So this program runs every Saturday from October 18 to November 22nd in Democracy Park's Education Hall. Children will first draw their memories on a map of Busan, followed by parents adding their own, creating a layered record that compares and connects generations. Participation is free with registration available on the museum's website. The museum director noted that history is not only about the past, but also about sharing experiences across generations, helping participants see themselves as part of living history. And that's it for today's Busan Update.
From the heart of Busan to the pulse of the world. Global city, local voices. This is Busan Worldwide.
And it's time for Correspondent Reports. Let's turn to the United States for the latest updates. Our correspondent 봉소연 is on the line from San Diego. 네, 오늘은 미국 소식 들어보겠습니다. 미국의 봉소연 통신원 안녕하십니까?
네, 안녕하세요. 미국 샌디에고에서 통신원 봉소연입니다. 반갑습니다.
네, 반갑습니다. With that, let's jump into our first story. Reports say that President Trump has ordered the deployment of federal troops to Portland, Oregon. So tell us more about this development. 네, 첫 번째 소식입니다. 트럼프 대통령이 오리건주 포틀랜드에서 연방군 투입을 지시했다는 소식이 들려왔는데요. 이 소식 자세히 전해주시죠.
네, 트럼프 대통령이 현지 시간으로 지난 27일 오리건주 포틀랜드에 군 병력을 배치할 것을 지시했습니다. 테러리스트들의 공격을 받은 이민세관 단속국을 보호하겠다는 취지인데요. 이번 조치는 지난 24일 텍사스주의 댈러스의 이민세관 단속국 구금시설에서 총격이 발생했습니다. 그런데 여기서 사망사건이 발생한 데 따른 것으로 풀이되고 있습니다. 또한 피트 헤그세스 전쟁부, 전 명칭은 국방부죠. 이 전쟁부 장관에게 필요하다면 전면적인 무력 사용도 승인한다고 말했는데요. 포틀랜드는 오리건주에서 제일 큰 도시입니다. 로스앤젤레스, 워싱턴, 멤피스에 이어서 병력 배치를 하는 네 번째 주요 도시가 될 가능성이 있습니다.
그렇군요. So President Trump on the 27th local time ordered the deployment of federal troops to Portland, Oregon. He said the move was intended to protect the Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE agency, which had come under attack by terrorists. This decision appears to have been made following a shooting incident at an ICE detention facility in Dallas, Texas on the 24th, which resulted in casualties. President Trump also stated that he had authorized the United States Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to use full-scale military force if necessary. Now, Portland is the largest city in Oregon, and it could become the fourth major city after LA, Washington, and Memphis to see the deployment of federal troops. Well, there must be strong opposition to the troop deployment as well. So what are people saying about it? 군대 배치를 반대하는 목소리도 클 것 같은데 어떻습니까?
네, 그렇습니다. 오리건주 주지사와 포틀랜드 시장은 위법한 명령을 즉각적으로 철회해 줄 것을 촉구했습니다. 티나 코텍 오리건 주지사는 소셜미디어에 포틀랜드에는 국가안보 위협이 존재하지 않는다. 포틀랜드와 오리건은 스스로 치안을 해결할 능력이 있다고 반박했습니다. 트럼프 대통령의 이러한 군대 배치 지시에 최근 정치적 기류가 맞물려 있는 게 아니냐는 평가도 나오고 있습니다.
그렇군요. 앞으로의 상황들을 조금 더 지켜봐야 될 것 같은데요. So she shared that the governor of Oregon and the mayor of Portland have called for the immediate withdrawal of what they described as an unlawful order. Oregon governor responded on social media saying, and I quote, "There is no national security threat in Portland. Portland and Oregon are fully capable of maintaining public safety on their own." Now, some observers also suggest that President Trump's decision to deploy troops may be tied to recent political currents and developments. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on the situation and how the situation unfolds. Now, moving on to our second story, we hear there's a figure in the U.S. who's become a hot topic in relation to freedom of expression. So let's hear a bit about him. 두 번째 소식 이어서 들어볼게요. 현재 미국에서 표현의 자유와 관련해 뜨거운 음모로 있다고 하는데요. 누군가요?
네, 바로 지미 키멀입니다. 미국의 ABC 방송의 간판 심야 토크쇼를 진행하는 코미디언인데요. 이 지미 키멀이 지난 15일 찰리 커커 피살과 관련된 비판적인 발언으로 지미 키멀 라이브 쇼가 무기한 결방이 된 겁니다. 이후 표현의 자유 논란이 계속해서 불거졌고요. 지난 17일 무기한 결방이 됐던 토크쇼는 약 일주일 만에 방송이 재개됐습니다. 지미 키멀은 방송에 복귀해서 젊은이 죽음을 가볍게 여기려는 의도는 결코 없었다면서 자신의 발언을 사과하면서도 표현의 자유라는 측면에서는 쇼가 계속되어야 한다고 강조했습니다. 다만 쇼를 재개한 중에도 일부 지역 방송국 운영사들은 송출을 거부할 수 있어서 논란은 이어질 전망입니다.
그렇군요. So that figure we're talking about is Jimmy Kimmel, host of ABC's flagship late night program, Jimmy Kimmel Live. And the show was indefinitely suspended on the 15th after his comments on the Charlie Kirk shooting, sparking controversy over free speech. The suspension began on the 17th, but the show resumed a week later, and Kimmel apologized, saying he never meant to make light of a young person's death while insisting the program must continue for the sake of free expression. Now, despite the return, some local broadcasters may still refuse to air the show, meaning the controversy is likely to continue. Well, let's jump into our final topic for today. President Trump's comments on Tylenol are causing a stir, of course. So what did he say? 네, 마지막 소식 볼게요. 트럼프 대통령의 타이레놀 관련 발언이 논란을 일으켰다고 하는데요. 어떤 내용인가요?
네, 트럼프 대통령이 지난 23일 기자회견을 열어서 이 타이레놀이 태아의 자폐증 가능성을 높인다는 주장을 했습니다. 정확하게는 타이레놀의 주 성분인 아세트아미노펜이 자폐아의 출산 위험을 높인다고 재차 주장한 건데요. 이부프로펜 계열의 진통제는 태아에게 해로울 수 있다는 이유로 권장되진 않지만 이 아세트아미노펜은 임신부의 통증이나 발열에 안전하다고 알려져서 의사들이 처방해온 약물입니다. 이러한 주장으로 임신부들의 막연한 불안감이 커지고 있는 상황입니다.
I see. So at a press conference on the 23rd, Trump claimed that acetaminophen, Tylenol's main ingredient, could increase the risk of autism in fetuses, and it has long been considered safe for pregnant women to treat pain and fever. So his remarks are fueling anxiety among expectant mothers. And let's hear a bit about this. So what is the stance of health experts on this matter? 그렇다면 보건 전문가들은 어떤 입장인가요?
네, 뉴욕타임스에 따르면 FDA를 비롯한 각국의 보건당국은 아직 뚜렷한 연관성을 찾지 못했다고 언급했는데요. 더불어 미국 산부인과 학회도 타이레놀이 임신부에게 안전하다고 강조했습니다. 세계보건기구인 WHO의 타릭 야사레비치 대변인은 지난 23일 언론 브리핑에서 타이레놀 복용과 자폐증 간 연관 가능성을 시사하는 연구 결과를 언급하기는 했지만 해당 연구 결과가 후속 연구에서는 확인되지 않았다며 주장에 대한 근거가 불명확하다는 입장을 밝혔습니다.
그렇군요. So according to the New York Times, health authorities, including the FDA, say there is no clear evidence linking Tylenol to autism. And a WHO spokesperson noted one study that suggests a possible link, but said the findings were not confirmed in later research. So definitely have to continue on looking at this topic, and just we'll have to hear a bit more about it in the future. And that concludes today's updates coming from the U.S. 네, 오늘 미국 소식은 여기까지 듣겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 지금까지 미국 샌디에고에서 통신원 봉소연이었습니다.
All right, and that's it for today's Correspondent Reports, connecting with our reporter based in San Diego. And listeners, before we wrap up, I do want to mention that tomorrow, we're going to be talking about reading a bit because autumn is the perfect season for reading, right? Tomorrow on the interview, we'll be joined by the head of Kreta Independent Bookstore, a cultural hub in Busan that helps young people discover their true selves. We're going to talk about biggest changes in Korea's reading culture and even get some timely book recommendations, so stay tuned for that. Final song for today is by Silk Sonics with Leave the Door Open. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
My house clean, my pool warm, just shake smooth like a newborn. We should be dancing, romancing in the east wing and the west wing of I won't back